So Wendy asks, what your process for teaching Piaffe and Passage? For Piaffe and Passage, there you can do a lot in hand, right, to really teach the horses. For Piaffe, there are two different exercises that I find super useful, and for others, Piaffe is the trotting on the spot, and it's a highly collected move, and I usually teach that rather late in the training. Some people train it early, but I find for really quality Piaffe, the horses need to be really strong in their core already. Um, but still, there are a couple of things where you can ease yourself into it, where it's called half steps, and it's kind of coming closer to what you want from a Piaffe. So there are two different ways that I have experience and that worked for me. One is when you practice backing the horse up, and then from the backing up going into a trot, and then you go back into backing up and back into a trot. You can really do that in hand as well, because when you're backing up, the horse steps back ideally diagonally as well, like the trot as well. So it's the same kind of movement of the feet in a way, just backwards. And and plus, when they're backing up well, they're really tucking their butt under, and that's what you need for a Piaffe. You need the horse to really sit back on the hind end, right? So you do a lot of these transitions, make the horse very responsive. That's something that you can beautifully do in hand, and that's also something that you can start rather early in the training. Not super early, right? The horse has to know a couple of things to be able to do it properly, right? So that is the fluid responsiveness in the back and forth, and you do that under saddle as well. And then you ask when you have them like really sitting on the back, backing up, on the butt, backing up, and then you ask them, instead of asking them for the trot, you just hold them a little bit in the front so that they are not trotting off. But then they've got the energy because they think the trot is coming, and then you usually get the first half steps from that. Yeah, so that's a beautiful way to do it because it makes sense to the horses. Another one is transitions within the shoulder in. So you keep the horse in a shoulder in at a walk, and then you transition into a trot and keep the horse in the shoulder in, bring it back to a walk in the shoulder in, and then you transition back to a trot. So you have right transitions, but you keep the horse in a shoulder in position all the time. So you can tell these things are not that easy to do, right? So they need training you need a really good shoulder in the first place. That's not easy, right? So that's more advanced already. And then good transitions between the walk and the trot in the shoulder in. So that's what you need. And then basically you are in the shoulder in, instead of then going into the trot, you then ask for you're kind of keeping the horse from doing the trot, but you've got them active enough so that they are actually doing their half steps. Yeah, so I hope that makes sense. But these two, and for the passage, you ask for the passage. So passage meaning the horse actually is more forward than Piaffe. They're really sitting back. In the passage, it's like a slow motion trot. And for the passage, we always train that with like posting, extending the trot, like really in a really strong extended trot, and then going into a very collected trot, but we kept posting. And then we did that a lot so that you got the energy from that extended trot. So you had this positive tension that you need for these exercises. And then you brought them back into a collection. Now they had a lot of energy, but you didn't let the energy out forward, so it came up, right? And with your posting, you can really get the horses to you basically go up and down instead of forward. Yeah, so these are two. That's for the passage. That's the only way how we did it. There are probably other ways, but that was fairly simple and straightforward.